Quincy, what changed in those last 9 minutes, especially defensively, for you guys to go on that run?
It was our defense. I think we had 11 straight defensive stop. We were just locking up on defense, playing together, communicate, play with a tremendous energy, and I think that was the reason why we got that win.
Terrence, what did Quincy give you guys down the stretch on both ends of the floor there, especially late?
I feel like Quincy did a really good job defending. He gave us a big inside presence, being low and against their zone. And he offensive and defensive rebounded. He was just a big body down there for us, and he was really key to the win.
Quincy, you were big late against Kansas and obviously in this one as well. How do you look at closing time? You've been in a lot of basketball games, obviously, in college. So what's your approach in that, and how can you impact this team?
I mean, my goal is just to find a way to win games. Like you said, I'm the oldest guy on the team, so I got to take pride in that. And, just being a leader out there, make sure that everyone stay positive and find a way to win games.
Seems like the matchup zone caused you a little bit of problems early in the game. Did it take a while to kind of figure that out?
Yeah, man. I was just overthinking it and just moving the ball and making the right play. Then we just settled in and we started making plays offensively. But it was all good. We got the win.
Terrence, you kind of just smothered, Golke for them. Their shoot. Just,
yeah.
And was he at the top of the scouting report? Was maybe not let him get the shots like you did?
Yeah. It was, and I told him I was gonna do that. Went out and did it, man. But he's a really good player. Props to him. They got really good offensive scheme, but we did a good job guarding and defending it during the week in practice.
Dain, last game it was Dre that provided a spark off the bench. Today it seemed like it was you. What's kind of the mentality of you guys as a bench group on this team?
Well, for me, it's just just doing what I can so we can get the dub, Every day I try to come in with energy. Yeah.
It's for either Dain or Quincy. There was a lineup late of you two and Coleman and TJ out there. It's a really big lineup. What does that give you guys, especially defensively?
I feel like it changed the game just with our rebounding, how much we were able to gain rebounds at the end of the game. And they really had to just close in a little bit in the paint. So that opened up for everybody else.
For any of you, just against their zone, how important was it to get maybe the ball to Dain in the post and maybe get some of those that penetration and stuff like that?
When Dain subbed in, when he started sealing, we saw we could take advantage there, and during the timeout, so he just said to feed him, and sometimes we missed him, but that was a focal point to get it to Dain, and we drew up plays for him to get it to him and let him go to work. He's a really good player in the post. I feel like he's one of the best bigs in the country, and we're gonna need him. We're gonna need him in the long run.
Quincy, what have you guys learned in the 3 opportunities you've had? Obviously, 1 against a ranked team, 2 against a little lower level teams. What have you learned about yourself going into your biggest test of the regular season here?
I mean, defensively is going to be a big key for us to win games. Like today, we were not shooting the ball well. Free throw percentage was terrible. So we had to find a way to win the game without making shots. So like I said, defensively is going to be a big key for us going forward in the season. That should be our identity, and we just got to keep working.
I guess for either Dain or Terrence, when your identity wants to be defense, what's that require mentally from you guys, from a mindset to keep that energy over the course of a full game and season?
I mean, obviously, teams gonna score, but just being the same and sticking to our principles. Throughout the start of the game, I think it was 8-0, and we just stayed in there, locked in more, and figured out our mistakes. And throughout the game in the second half, we got 11 stops straight. So just sticking to our principles and being solid and staying true to what we do, I feel like that's going to be really good for us.
Terrence, I got to ask, do you have a T-shirt guy? Where are you finding all these?
So my friend, she's back home, and she actually lives in Houston, but she's from Chicago. But she has her own clothing brand, and she designed a couple shirts for me. Obviously, my boy Johnny. We look like him today, actually. But yeah, she's been a really real good helping me out with designs and stuff for the school. Yeah, I got some more coming up. It's a surprise, though. It's a surprise.
You know, we get a lot of blessings in life, and we're all sitting here because of a basketball game, and I'd be remiss because there was something happened yesterday that's a lot more important, and Quincy didn't mention it, but it was the birth of his daughter with his fiance, Natalia Rose is her name, and you know, the blessings in life of having a child are pretty special. And so he's been gone. He's been, you know, worrying about all of that, and so I did want to make sure that I mentioned that, because I think that's pretty damn cool, and pretty special to be a dad. And so he was ecstatic. He was fired up to, you know, be back with the team, but know that mom and daughter are healthy. So I think we had 11 stops in a row until the last 3. This is a game that I have stressed over, to be very honest with you. I know how good they are. I know how good a coach he is. That team's going to win a ton of games. They do an unbelievable job of controlling tempo with their zone, and then they run a set every trip. And maybe one of the best defensive performances by a perimeter player I've seen was Terrence Shannon tonight. I think Golke got up 18 threes, if I'm not mistaken, at Ohio State, especially after the start of the game when he hit his first one. But he had a hard time even getting a look. And it takes a lot of mental focus to handle that, because he's away from the ball a lot. He doesn't play on the ball. I thought the job Quincy did in the second half defensively was equally as impressive. There's no doubt that Townsend is a terrific player. They're a team a little bit in the mindset of Penn State last year, in that they can really, really beat you from 3, and yet probably their best player is Townsend. And so you have to pick your poison, what you want to do. You know, it's hard to make enough 2s, but I thought that all of our guys did a good job. But I thought Quincy, and then I thought Ty Rodgers in that stretch in the second half those guys were terrific on the defensive side. Dain was impactful as heck in the first half, being able to get the ball in the paint. It was great to see him get going there in a night where we didn't make free throws, we didn't make layups, we didn't make dunks, and we didn't make a 3. The flow, the disruption, that's everything our program is about, is finding a way to win a game when none of those things go your way. It was really ugly, and I love that. It's you know, you wish you made a few, but we didn't. And you've got to find a way to win ugly games. And tonight we did that with an unbelievable defensive effort, and we beat a good team. And excited to pull away late, and the last 7 minutes were pretty good, and put this one in the W column, because that will help us with the net, and it'll help us with Ken Palm and all the analytics as we move on down the road. That's a good basketball team.
Just more on Quincy and his defense. He's kind of wrecked them down the stretch there. How much did he change the game when he went on Trey?
Yeah, I mean, we thought that he's had a little bit of problems scoring over size, Again, every action that they ran was to him, and we changed our coverage for him, which I don't usually do. But he's a very good isolation player, his physicality early got him going. But you can't move Quincy. There's an advantage to being 6'8", 235 with long arms and can jump, and his defense changed the game. It suffocated them. That's why we had 11 straight stops.
He talked about just down the stretch, his focus is pretty much solely those making winning plays, and you mentioned him not bringing up the birth of his daughter. I'm just curious, is that maturity, being as old as he is, or is that something that you've observed even going back to recruiting him the first?
No, that's maturity. It's experience. It's what a wonderful human being he is, because he's a terrific, terrific young man. He's always been about team first, and everybody that's coached him will say that. But I'm darn glad he's on our side, and I'm glad I get to spend every day around him, because he's a fun guy to be around, and he's very mature.
The players talked about defense being the identity of this team. What do you think this team is capable of on that end, compared to even some of your teams who have been very good on that end?
Yeah, the group we had out late was big. There's a lot of size. There's a lot of size out there, and there gives you some versatility that it makes it hard to shoot over. I think that our athleticism. I think Terrence is as good a perimeter defender as there is in the country. He proved that tonight, and there was no separation. And you start watching how hard he sprinted to get through screens, and then he's strong. Ty, and then I thought Quincy and Coleman and Dain were in there for a second, and then we put Luke in, who's a cerebral player, and so I think that's an advantage we have that we haven't. We've always had a smaller guard that's given us a challenge or two, and I still think we've got some things we've got to work out. But Oakland is so different, and they never ball screen. They'll probably be the lowest ball screen team in the country. And in a world where everybody ball screens, and then they play that damn junk 1-3-1, whatever the hell kind of defense that is, and it just keeps you out of rhythm. And then you put that with their shooters, and they're really good.
Terrence said that Gulke was obviously a big part of the scouting report for this team, and that he felt like they did a good job of in practice sort of preparing for that. Did you see him, I don't know, maybe embrace this opportunity to shut down a guy that had 18 threes?
And we've talked, I think he had 41 or 42 three-point attempts through their first game and their two exhibitions, and no twos. And, that's a key, and we've got to limit his opportunities. Our whole key was to be there on the catch and force him to dribble. And if you wanted to shoot one over the top of 6'6", great. And if he made them, you pat him on the rear end and say, great shot. But over the course of time, you had to wear him down and make him earn it. And I thought we did a good job of that.
Against that matchup zone, do you feel like you got the shots that you wanted, or were there some challenges there getting good shots?
We got the shots. We just played a little bit out of rhythm. I thought we were hesitant. That's on me. We haven't spent a lot of time on it up until the preparation of the game. For a couple of days out, we don't see a ton of it, but it was more me just I like the layups we got. I like the dunks we got. I thought we got good threes. I thought we just got, they're always jumping in a passing lane, so they stop ball movement, and then they force you to drive it. And I thought once we got Dain in, I thought Dain did a really good job of being able to seal and do some things. But I liked our shots. We just didn't make them, and then we got fouled and didn't make any free throws.
Has this team maybe different than other teams you've had, because you go into a game and you don't know who you're going to play maybe down the stretch? Other teams, you knew Trent or Io were going to be on the floor, but this team's a little bit different in that you have a different lineup. How does that change your game planning heading in?
Yeah, I mean it's a really nice problem, to be very honest, because it's just kind of the hot hand and how you feel. We did the same thing against Kansas. We found a group we really liked in the Eastern game, and tonight it was for a different side of the court. We found 5 guys that worked, and it probably would have left Dain in had he just not gotten tired. But it's a nice feel to know that there's solutions on the bench, and you're just going to find that right group, and so I feel really blessed to have that.
Coach, what was your message to the team, obviously, after this gutsy win with Marquette coming in next week?
Yeah, I was ecstatic. I mean, I haven't slept very good because of them, and we played these games for a reason. We have a few more coming up that are really considered mid-major programs, but that's an old team, that's a veteran team, and nobody likes playing Oakland. They have a hard time scheduling games. Nobody likes playing them. And so you're going to be in for a dogfight, and it's a different type of game because that you're going to see a zone and you're going to see great offense, and it's a great preparation game. So I'm happy that we won it really ugly, because guess what? I won a couple NCAA tournament games, shooting 30%. Sometimes you just got to find a way, and we have to figure out a way to have resilience and toughness and not let bad offense or lack of offense affect our defense. And I thought we did that tonight.
Brad, on the note of closing time, it seems like Quincy's really earning your trust in that, and probably what you envision getting a 24-year-old with that much experience. Is what you've seen in him in those really key moments.
Well, I think the other piece to that is he's really strong, he's really athletic, and he's versatile. And whether it was the 3 in the Kansas scrimmage that he hits from the corner, or a rip drive, or tonight and he hit a 3 tonight, but he did it in different ways. It was his defense tonight. It was a couple offensive rebounds. It was stepping up, making 2 free throws. It's just it's a smorgasbord of what he's doing. He's doing a little bit of everything, and that's experience and then really gifted physical tools.
So you guys are 51% from the free throw line through 2 games. Like, what do you think is there anything you can see, I guess, that's an issue there?
Shit, I don't know. I mean, we practice them all the time, and it's a, yeah, you got to step up and make them. I don't. It's not that we have bad shooters, and what did Terrence shoot last year? 80, 84, 85%. And I mean, he missed more free throws the other night, in the Eastern game than he's missed in a season. Man up, step up, and concentrate, and make them. And we can practice them all day, but till you put 16,000 in the stands and breathe a little harder, and we run them, we do a lot of ways, but we'll make them. I got all the confidence in the world that we'll make them. We did tonight down the stretch, and unfortunately it's frustrating to run good stuff, get great shots, and then not make them in the first half. See you tomorrow at the stadium.